Welcome to the Chop It Up podcast, the show that brings you genuine conversations from various different points of views. And me, I am your host, Big Rube.
My money that I make from usually goes right back into more materials, more tools to help me because, I mean, especially with the raw pieces that people love, I have to like grind those, sand them, cut them. And, that's my apartment. It's a little, it gets a little dangerous in there. You got to have the protective eye gear. So otherwise.
Serious up in there, huh?
Yeah. So it goes back into it right now. And I still enjoy doing it, of course. And I want it to continue to grow and just get more unique in the designs.
I know that you said that you're in 30 states, so we going to go ahead and emphasize on that 30 states, she said. I guess you have a hot state. I would say that like it's consistent. They continue to keep coming. Is it Chicago? Is it or is it somewhere else?
Most of them have gone to Illinois, like right here at home. And of course, I think you can't avoid that. I think that's just marketing, especially if it's Instagram. They're going to show you in a certain radius. New York has been showing up a lot. I would say a couple of them have gone there. California, of course. California and Colorado. So those states where they've had it for a while. Yeah, I sold one to South Carolina today. That was the first time ever there. So another state notch on the belt.
Now, is there a state that you got a sale in and you were like, wow, I never thought?
Rhode Island and Alabama. I was
Really?
like, what? Okay. Rhode Island.
That means it. Look, you reaching out there.
Yeah. So I remember that. One went to Rhode Island. One went to Alabama. And I know one so my first time going to Colorado, I flew into Denver, but I stayed in Pueblo, which is 2 hours out from Denver. So I sold a grinder to someone in Pueblo, and I just left it a note. I was like, oh my God, that's cool. My first and only time going to Colorado. I went there. So I like connecting with people. So yeah, that was cool when it went to that town because it's not a big town. But so that was nice because I had a great time there. But yeah, Alabama and Rhode Island, those surprised me.
Yeah, you definitely have to have some reach. If somebody down in Alabama was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and,"
right?
So I bet that definitely was a good feeling. Now that you're in this game as a business owner, we definitely know that in every business there's competition. Who would you say is your competition, or are you aware of who your competition is?
I mean,
or do you view anybody as competition, or do you feel like you might just be owning the lane right now?
not at this time. I don't view them as competition. I view them as potential allies. I really do. There's so much room for so many different kinds of businesses, especially in the cannabis community. Mm-hmm. There are so many people who are killing the game on accessories. The pipes, like your little hitters and whatnot.
Yeah.
So many people make those, but all of them most of the ones that I come across are beautiful in their own way. You have people who are really into ceramics and they hand make them.
Yeah.
And so, I've collabed with this company in New York called Self Ceremony. I found them last year. They sell crystal pipes. That's who I bought my first crystal pipe from. It was a rose quartz pipe. So technically we're in the same room. We did a collaboration for Valentine's Day in February. And she's been so supportive, like even during this time with all this civic unrest. She reached out, said, hey, if you need anything, let me know. She's a fellow woman of color as well, but I think she's not black, but that's cool. Like, she just has been so supportive from the beginning. She said, hey, I know you haven't launched yet, but when you want to, we can collab.
That's awesome. Yeah,
so we did a giveaway because she sells crystal pipes, but she also sells herb smoke blends.
Right. Okay.
So, it doesn't have cannabis in them, but I use them. They're very relaxing. It's not tobacco. And
so it's like the CBD kind of?
No, it's like lung healthy herbs. So I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but I think it's called mullein diamana. And just all these herbs that you didn't think you could smoke, rose petals. And lavender, and it's so relaxing. So we did a joint giveaway, and I gave away one of my rose quartz grinders with her smoke blend called the Heart for Valentine's Day. And you know what I mean? We both got followers from it, and we sent it to the winner. I picked the winner with the randomization app. And I'm just a fan of the phrase. It's one of my favorite quotes. A rising tide lifts all boats. You're going to have your people that you're going to reach out to. It's 1,000 makeup line companies, and they're all winning. People are going to buy what they want to buy. So I just worry about your own lane. You're good. As long as you know that you're operating in integrity, that good will come back to you. I just have to believe that. And it's been proven for me.
See, check it out. Again, another gem right there. Like, it's all about your mindset. It's definitely all about your mindset. You can definitely create enemies, or you can go ahead and create allies. And I think that you just saying that you view them as potential allies, I think that they very much speaks to just your nature and how you do business. You already low key been telling us about these collabs that you've been having with other companies and people, and yeah, I just see that continuing to get bigger and bigger, especially with that attitude that you carry around with it. So kudos to you. We definitely gonna have to talk offline as well. Focusing more on the business again, just what are your plans with the business? Like what's the mission that you're trying to complete, and where is it that you envision your business being within the next 1 to 5 years?
I would love to just keep creating, keep growing, keep having my launches be more frequent without overextending or exerting myself or oversaturating it, because I think that still speaks to the uniqueness of it that people enjoy. It'll be great once this social distancing era comes to a close to get back out and do in-person events. That's what I was more excited to do, because you keep more of your money from one thing rather. So you're not paying your online fees, and you get to interact with people. They get to know you. You give them a card. It's so nice to see them walk away. It was a good time. So I look forward to doing more in-person events, traveling for in-person events to your festivals, conventions, and things of that nature. Just being put in front of as many faces as possible, as opposed to many screens. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Okay, and then so would you definitely say that this whole COVID-19 kind of affected the way that you do business, or just your initial plan on how you were going to do business?
I would say it did. I had more plans to do. There were a lot of in-person events set up, even for the yoga side, honestly. I was teaching for Under Armour at the beginning of the year.
That's big right there.
Yeah, it was great. And then stuff stopped, but they've still been awesome. And I mean, once this clears, I'm pretty sure we'll all be good, happy, and healthy once again. But
definitely,
I would say it just stopped that. The sales have still been pretty consistent since the COVID started, and it's even been better because I've been working from home. So if somebody gives me a sale, I ship that same day.
Okay.
I usually ship within a couple of hours. So if you know you want it, be sure, because once I get that notification, I'm going to ship it that same day, as long as the post office is still open before 5 p.m. CST.
See.
And that's been awesome because I live down the street from one. So before, when I was in the office, if I got a sale, I would have to ship it the next day, because I got to get home, post office closed, got to wrap everything up, pack it. And so I would say it's been good for that. I actually got a really good, heartwarming review because of how fast my shipping is. Because if you live in Illinois or in the Chicagoland area, if I ship it in the morning, like today, you'll get it the next day.
That's perfect.
Like Amazon Prime, baby, 2 days. Okay? So
great customer service right there.
Exactly. So I got a really good review from a woman. I can't remember. I think it was in March. She specifically said that she thought it was going to take a while, and she was prepared to wait a while for her grinder because of the COVID. And she was like, I'm so surprised it shipped so fast. I'm like, hey, I'm at home. if you want it, I got it for you. I will ship it that day. Just, I'm at home. Let me know. But, so I would say that's been the positive. Just trying to look for the positives. Being at home to be able to work on them in between my breaks of my regular job. So that's the bright side of everything. But the only thing it stopped is the in-person events.
Well, yeah, you definitely had to go ahead and make sure that you stayed safe,
Yeah.
and everything. Now, I guess what would you say has been your biggest obstacle as a new business owner, and having getting your company started, lifted off the ground, and just having the momentum that you had? What time or what situation may have been the most difficult that you had to overcome?
I would say it's still ongoing. Because, let's be honest, I always am an advocate of telling people, if you are able to save with whatever job you have, and I understand that advising people to save usually comes with a lot of discussion afterwards on privilege and what I can save.
Right, yeah.
But if you can save the smallest amount, please do it, even if you don't know what you want to do, so that when you have that spark, you can invest in yourself. I didn't know that I wanted to teach yoga. Now, to become certified and to take that training is not cheap. But because I had just been putting away for when I knew something, a class or certification was going to come up, I had it to do it. The same with the business. So the yoga money funded my business. It is expensive to get trademarks and consulting on logos. I know you had asked, one of your questions offline was about attorneys and professional consultants.
Yes.
So you have your LegalZoom.coms and things in websites like that will fill out your application for you to trademark your logo or your business. And it's so expensive to have them do that when a lot of these things can be done on your own with the proper research. Okay. But it still costs. Right. It's like $250 to trademark each class. I'm not fully versed in it yet. That's my next step. But it's expensive. So investing in that, using your credit appropriately and responsibly will help you a great way. So what I would advise people, if you know you're going to start a business, to, if you can, open up a new credit card. That way you have 15 months of free interest and you can charge up the starts there. And then hopefully within that year, you've made the money back to pay off the credit card before the interest starts hitting. So that's kind of what I did, and it has worked. And you create a tax shelter for yourself when you do LLC for your company. That's relatively affordable. But yeah, I would say the obstacle is that reinvesting into the business. You want to see your profits so fast, but when you first start, you're not going to see it because you've invested into getting it started in the first place. So that's why I started off the obstacle of saying saving, because that is hard to do when life is the way it is and times are the way they are.
Not so many people have good saving habits just on the regular anyway.
Oh no, it's a learning thing. It's what you want to learn. It's discipline and going back to doing everything with intention. And I understand. So that's been the obstacle. Trying to keep my costs low without being cheap and compromising quality, and trying to invest into the necessary documentation and trademarking of the business. But I would say don't let that stop you, because you have time to get that done. And if you create a record of history, you can still do it later down the road, but not too late. But yeah, absolutely. Just so, if I had advice for people, it would just get started. Mine started with just creating the Instagram page because I knew it would keep me accountable. Posting on it regularly.
Yeah, just so you know, we might have to get you to put together some type of course or something like that, because I'm sure that the people that listening are definitely picking up on a lot of much needed information that, just is not, well, it may be readily out there, but they don't know exactly where to go and look for it. So yeah, that might be something that we may need to go ahead and put together. But also, what is it that you do to stay on top of everything? Because you seem that you have a good amount of knowledge that has been self-acquired. So what is it that you do to go ahead and continue to keep on increasing that knowledge and that wisdom? Where is it that you go to seek this information out? I know that you said that you do have someone that you speak to for advice as far as with the business, but when you're not going to them, where do you turn?
I listen to podcasts. I follow pages like Instagram for Business, Etsy Success. They always give great advice. I will say, I don't know how the site is now, but Business Insider, the finance section, I think it was like Business Insider, click on finance, and then click on your money. That's what it was back then. I think the website looks completely different now. But that's where I would get the ideas for starting, and just from the base level, starting to save, starting to cut costs and work towards being more financially responsible. It just takes one step, and it really is like a snowball effect. Even if you don't know what you want to do. When I first started looking into being more responsible with things like that, it was because I had paid off my car. And I was like, well, how can we make this extra money that I'm saving from the note not just disappear into the ether?
Right.
Not just to go waste it. So that's how it started. And, you take one step towards, you take one step and the universe takes two steps towards you. You can cater that quote to your belief system. But it does mean something. That momentum just from starting does mean something. But I listen to podcasts, of course.
Is there any particular podcast you want to go ahead and shout out there? Just anybody else that might want to go ahead and subscribe and join in and listening to all the great golden nuggets that you've been given.
My podcasts have been foolishness, so I use the podcast for motivation. I would say for websites, like I said, follow business pages on your Instagram. Treat your social media like a diet, okay? Have your feed of foolishness. If you like to see rippling muscles and cake shaking, that is okay?
Just
but
don't overdo it.
But follow at least 10% of your, I think it's called like finance snacks. That's the page. Like I said, Instagram for Business, Etsy Success, if that's what you want to go into, opening one of those small stores.
You hear that?
Yeah, like just have a well-curated feed, because you'll find that it's motivational as well as educational as well as entertaining. That's what I would say do. Everybody does usually say read, but I haven't had the time for that. I read online. But I remember when I was interested in a food truck at a time, I bought a book on that. But so if you just don't buy books just because people say read. Buy a book that you're interested in that's going to feed the knowledge of what you're looking for.
Right,
you know what I mean? Just don't buy books just because it sounds cool, because you're not going to read it. It's just going to collect dust. But yeah, I would say those pages have been helpful. And just following people who have also done it. LinkedIn. Treat LinkedIn like another social media. Pay attention to what you post on your LinkedIn. Pay attention to what you follow. Pay attention to the free courses they offer, and try to take some if you can. I took one on social media marketing before, and I took one on how to set up a Shopify store. I ended up going with Etsy.
But you still use the information that you
right
got.
So you can make your feed look good. I had to see things as an investment. I keep my phones for years. I just got a new phone last week, and that's because the phone I had before said, hey, I gotta go. I had that phone since 2016, so it was time. But, you pay attention to take a class on internet marketing or aesthetics or something like that. Pay attention to the pages that you like. What do you like about those pages? And try to recreate that in your own. I use Canva. That's a free app.
I just got onto that.
Visco. I use that to edit my pictures, and I actually pay for that now, but there is a free version as well. Visco, to just make your pictures look more refined and playing around with it. It's just, learn as you go for the most part, but as long as you have the hunger for it, you'll find what you're looking for.
See, again, wise words and gems. Now, are very well versed. I can see you getting plenty more hats to put on yourself and titles to go ahead and add to your resume. Now, outside of this current business that you have, what, if you weren't doing this, what is something else that you would be interested in and you think that you would be pursuing?
Oh my.
Like, do you have any other type of interest that you're like, I would do that, or a possibility where in the future you may dabble in?
I honestly think at this point I am doing what I want to do, teaching my yoga and selling my herb grinders. If I could just, well, we may be afforded that opportunity with being able to work remotely. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I remember I used to really be into van life. Like just pimping out a van, campers type deal, and just traveling around teaching pop-up yoga classes and selling my grinders. Because you can do that remotely. I can still work my job as long as I got some Wi-Fi. I can travel, teach in beautiful surroundings, and if somebody buys a grinder, ship it at the nearest post office. That's what I've been saying that for a few years now, and I would still like to do that. Or have a tiny house. I know all this sounds trendy, but I've been into this stuff for some years. A tiny house somewhere down in North Carolina, and
in the country, in the woods, or something like
just that getting back to just that simple, good living outside of the city, where you have your fresh air, you can be alone with your thoughts and nature, and just really get back to what really matters and counts.
Right.
But that would be it. Just taking what I'm doing now and being able to freely move about with it and be independent from a home base of apartment or city. So that's kind of what I would think about. That's about it. I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing right now.
Nah, and that's great though. That's always a great thing to be happy with what you're doing. So, what would be the exact emotion that you would have to say when you think about your business and what you're doing? What's the one word that can go ahead and describe the emotion that you get? Like when you wake up in the morning and you think about Noelle Delune, what is it that is there a feeling that you have? Like anytime that you see your logo, is there a feeling like what's the presence that it gives you?
I would say there's a gratification there. Gratitude comes to mind. Humility as well. There's something to be said for providing a service to somebody where they can leave away from it better than they came in, especially with yoga. I started teaching my mom because and I think a lot of people in our society discount the feelings that women can go through when they reach a certain age and a certain stage of their life.
Right.
So it was mental for her as it was physical. And sharing the meditation and just the physical release of the yoga practice with her, it was very nice to offer that because you always look to your parents as they're the source of knowledge for you. So when you get older and you can teach them something that helps them, it shows you that your parents are still just people.
Right.
And you see them in a different light. And that has been very humbling as well. And so I like to have that balance of humility and just staying in gratitude because things can go wrong. You see with the economic situation and social that things that people held in high regard don't mean anything.
Not at all.
What matters is like the human connection that you make with people. So it's been nice seeing my pieces of artwork, what I consider art, around different states of the country. That's humbling that people, especially when you're a small store, because I know this from me shopping. If I'm a small store and I see nobody has any sales, I'm kind of like, ooh, do I trust?
Yeah.
Am I going to get my stuff? So this is why I always try to ship as fast as possible because people they're taking a chance with you, especially when you're small. I have under 100 sales still. So it's just always staying humble, always staying in gratitude. Even though you may not be seeing a profit yet, it means something when it's your name on it. You know it's your work and you're doing it for yourself and the right reasons.
Definitely.
With your yoga classes, people come in day is stressful, times are hard, and they take a meditation restorative class with you, and they're just like, thank you, it feels so nice, I'm gonna have such a good sleep now. Like, you offered them that, and they've trusted you to guide them through that practice. That means a lot to me. So that's what I would think about, and that's what keeps you wanting to do it more.
Could you say that where you're at right now, you expected to be here in this amount of time, or would you say that you're further along than where you expected as far as time in the time frame from when you first started your business?
Let's see, it hasn't even been a year. I think it has met and exceeded my expectations, and I'm grateful for that.
Does that continue to add motivation?
Yeah, because I've been working on I launched my third set June 6th, and today is July 10th. I have one grinder left from the 30 that I launched a month ago.
Hey.
And so I know if I had worked on more pieces and posted them, that I would have more sales. But again, I move in my own time. What's there for me will be there for me. I'm not going to rush out anything and have it break on me. And so that has been great, showing grace to yourself, especially because it's still a pandemic, so you don't want to feel too much pressure. Move at your own pace in your own time. And that's why it's important as well to do things not out of desperation, but out of inspiration. Mm-hmm. Because I'm grateful to still be employed during this time, but if I wasn't, I feel like I'd be scrambling more for my yoga and my crystals and
just trying to do anything,
trying to make up for it. And then I feel like that would suffer. The quality would suffer some.
Because it wouldn't be as authentic.
And it wouldn't be as fun. I would have to be
it.
forced to ask, hey, can I pick up some more classes on the schedule? Knowing you don't want to.
Right, but it's like, okay, feeling like I have to. Where it's, no longer a delight, more of a chore.
So that's what I've been encouraged. It's been inspirational seeing my friends transform into small business owners for no reason other than they had no choice because the gyms closed. One of my friends, he recently opened up his own training facility because the gym closed where he was working at. And that is great because he has the personality to do that. And since the gyms are closed, I've been going to him. So I'm supporting small business. I'm supporting a friend, and not him, but another one of our friends in that industry has bought one of my grinders. They've come to one of my yoga classes. Even though they do fitness, they don't do yoga. So they've come to my classes. I've come to theirs. So we've come to this group economics, supporting each other through all this madness. And that's what the goal was in the first place. So I feel like I'm grateful for it in that aspect because it's forced people to figure it out. And you know that you have that capacity to do so. So that would be my advice, just to take those small steps. When you face some challenge, just face it with, okay, cool, that's cool. So what do we do now? Like, how do I flip this so it can work for me? But to still show grace to yourself, show patience, and understand that these are unprecedented times, and it's okay to slow down. But just don't stop.
Nah, you're definitely right, because it's all about your perspective. It's all about your mindset. Because that's one thing I definitely was looking at the beginning of this whole pandemic, was just, I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to take advantage of it because really it's just more so I feel like building character. It's just giving you an obstacle for you to figure out how to get around or get over. And once you do that, I feel like it just puts you in a better position at the end.
We're resilient people. We thrive when a lot of people would crack under pressure, I feel like. So, and not to make light of any suffering that anyone else is enduring, but it's a lot of people who have turned this time into thrival, if you will. And they've been doing well with it, and I think they'll continue to do well because, like I said, this is showing us that a lot of things we think matter, a lot of materialism, it means nothing. So you're forced to make more of a people connection because you need those connections to, find your way and navigate this new normal, as it were. So I've enjoyed that. It's forced us to look at, who can I support in this industry? Who can I support in that industry? So people are more conscious with their dollars, which has been the message of many for a very long time. And now you see who's really about you and who isn't. And
that's very key.
You support those who would support you.
I think we might have to go ahead and coin that word. Would you say surthrival?
Surthrival. Oh no, that's already a word. I think that's already somebody's thing. I forgot where I saw that, a TV show or something. But yes, surthrival.
I like that though. I'm like that's a nice little twist.
That is not mine.
So, but the way that you're talking, it seems that during, not even just through this pandemic, but during you starting, from the beginning of you starting your company and your business to now, it seems that you are incorporating and speaking with and networking with a lot more other business owners. So would you say that you see from when you started that your network of friends that are entrepreneurs, have you seen that just that group of friends grow?
I've seen it grow because they've started their own thing. It's no one that I didn't know before that I knew now. Well, that's not true. What I would say is, connections. Yes, that's grown. I'm happy to see my friends find their thing. I'm happy to see them find inspiration in what I did by just starting. So a friend of mine was talking about her interests, because we've always had so many interests since we were kids. Just, oh, we should do this, we should do this. And I'm like, yo, I'm just going to do this. Like, I have to just do something, because I always have ideas for something. There's another industry that is really, I think, is a great idea that I just don't have the bandwidth to get into, that I want my sister to get into. Like, oh, we'll pass this on to you. Like, maybe this is something for you, because I can't do it. But going back to your question about my friends, and it's been nice seeing them. A lot of my friends are into like fitness and stuff, so supporting them has been that's been awesome. But as far as social media connections, when you find your niche, you find groups of people in the city, and that's who did the event that I did in person in March. It was a group called Babes Only. It's these group of badass girls. They throw parties, and they throw parties and where vendors, musicians can come, and that's how I went it. They had a couple artists performing, a couple of artists and vendors. We were selling our products, and it was just great to get to know them, because as an adult, we joke about it, but it is harder to make new friends. So it's just funny. So it's just nice meeting people who are just cool, and I've enjoyed that on a business level as well as a personal level. It's feeding to the soul, just to meet good people with good intentions and just good personalities, good vibes, as they say. You know what I mean?
Also, the good thing too, just kind of maybe bounce ideas off of, and you just never know. You may speak on something, and they might not be the person to help you out, but they might be like, I know somebody that knows, and it's just always interesting to see how that web expands and continues to keep growing.
The first person I told about my business idea outside of like my family and close friends was a woman at a yoga and chill event that I went to last year. It was amazing. It was a group of women. We sat around, we did yoga, we talked about challenges that women face, and she like does elevated yoga classes, so your ganja yoga, if you will. And I told her, and the first thing she said, hey, I think that's a great idea. She was like, I would love for you to come to the classes I teach, and you can sell them afterwards. You know what I mean? So this is not competition, even though it's in the similar field. I teach yoga, she teaches yoga, but I'm not going to say, oh, let me teach yoga class for you. Like, no, you teach. We have our elevated circle, okay? And if people want to pick up a grinder from me after, they can. Otherwise, it's still a good experience, and people have seen it, and they'll tell somebody about it. And she ended up buying 2 grinders from my last set some months ago. So that was cool. She gifted one. I found this guy out in LA. He does rolling papers. I don't smoke. I don't roll. Can't roll. But, so I was like, I can just share your page, but I have no use for it. And he was like, you know how people say they're going to buy something. They feel bad if it takes them a while to do it. I'm cool with you saying it, and if it takes you 3 months to buy one, that's cool. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I appreciate the engagement with my page, the likes. Even though he didn't buy one until some months in, that's fine. It's going to be there for you. He shared my page. He tagged in a bunch of his friends. And so some people from, even though he's in LA, people from New Orleans end up buying my grinders. So I just appreciate the engagement. It doesn't always have to translate to a purchase. Just sharing it word of mouth, showing people, it'll come to you either way. So both of them are valuable. So I just enjoy that. That's been really nice. Just collaborating with these people, meeting these badass brands in that space.
So, what is something that you would go ahead and, I guess what is one, I guess we would say, what's one major piece of advice that you would give somebody starting off, just starting a business?
I would say take that first step by locking down what you want your business name to be, and then claiming your social media pages. That's something you can do for free. Be it your Instagram and Facebook, your Twitter. Grab your handles. And if you can, buy the email domain for your website, rather, and pay for like a year for email services underneath that domain. Like, I don't have a website, but I have my domain, so when people need to email me, it's not just Noelle Delune at Gmail, like a generic email. It's info at Noelle Delune. It just looks cleaner.
Looks more professional.
Exactly. So do that, and then that first step will move into something else. If you know what your industry is going to be in, I just think this worked for me. You want to start building your following. So like I said, if you don't have a lot of content on your own and your budget doesn't allow for professional pictures, use your phone. We have great cameras on these phones these days, but you can also use free stock photos on the internet. There are a bunch of sites of free stock photos, and find some photos that are within your industry, whatever your business will be, and start creating a page under that aesthetic that you like, with your free editing apps and things like that. That way, when you do launch your own product, people have been built up in anticipation, and the people who are following your page are actually going to engage. They're not just following it because you got pretty pictures. They're following it because they're interested in that industry. So just being engaging on social media as you can. And yeah, I would say to do that and to save for the next step. Reinvest the money from the first move into something else. And just to keep going on with that and not being discouraged, stay hungry for knowledge. There's so many, once again, free resources on the internet at your disposal for you to learn what needs to be learned in this game of side hustles, and side hustles becoming a business and lifestyle that actually sustains you once it becomes, more profitable. That would be my advice. Just take that first step, whatever that first step looks like for you. Mm-hmm. It'll hold you accountable. I knew I started an entire Instagram page, so I didn't want to. I know people cancel and delete pages all day, but I just knew I didn't want to do that after I'd already started it and started to get followers.
Right, and then all of a sudden just don't keep up with it now, because you actually have people. Once you start getting followers, you're like, okay, these people kind of relying on me. I can't just go ahead and up and just disappear.
I'm gonna do it.
That's definitely great information, great advice. Because you said use what you have available to you. I remember one of my instructors, I had a camera class, and he was just saying, the best camera that you have is the one that you have in your hands. Because he's like, don't worry about getting a fancy $20,000 camera. If you don't know how to use it, then you're just going to have a fancy camera, but bad shots. Just use what you have available to you. Don't worry about getting the fancy stuff. Just make sure that you know what you're doing. So that's definitely key. And then, as you also said, just with the social media presence, make sure that your social media presence is out there. That's very important. You want to have people knowing your name, knowing your product, knowing your services. At the same time, you want to be careful with what you put on social media.
Oh, yes.
Because, you might think, oh, this is my own personal Facebook page. You'll be surprised how many people go ahead and search and will look up, and where, a picture that you took and thought never was going to surface all of a sudden popped up, and now it might be affecting your business. So
absolutely. I do not cross the two.
No, you definitely want to be careful with all of that. So definitely appreciate you for providing, I would say, the abundance of wisdom and information. We definitely appreciate it. I would love to have you back for more discussions, and we're probably going to do something more like a round table too, where we have a good group of people just sharing in-depth information and just having great conversation. But as far as with your information, I want you to drop all your information again, your Instagram, where people can hit you up for the herb grinders, and then also where people can contact you or get information more for your yoga sessions as well.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation. Look forward to collabing more and just being of service when I can to the collective. That's what I'm here for. I'm Candyce Jones, owner of Noelle Delune. That's at Noelle Delune on Facebook and Instagram. It's NOELLEDELUNE. And Chase Shadows, like Chase and like Shadows 89, also on Instagram. They link to each other, so if you find one, you will find the other. And that's that's my personal page, but more so yoga. And so, I'll post about the Noelle Delune a little bit on that one as well. So whichever you like to support, a like and follow goes a long way.
Definitely check it out. I'm going to make sure that there's a link and also pictures for you guys to go ahead and view the products as well. But definitely don't be afraid. Hit up her Instagram, like her pictures, and definitely make orders. Go ahead and continue to support this wonderful Black business. Continue to see it thrive, and we're going to continue to do big things. Again, thank you, Miss Candyce Jones, for coming through, blessing us. And that's it. We out.